Mics are hot like my wife.
Whoa.
But
On the mother. We
five gamer here. This is the amount of people that are out. Doing the run sheet took forever.
Bruh. I don't even like look at this slate usually until like a couple of, like 5 hours before. So who knows who's gonna
two different
in.
Yeah, 2 different nights this week. I had to have early meetings, so I took naps like at from 5 to 6, and I woke up and I was like, it was like a whole new slate. It was just like, wait, Aiton's out. Who else is out? Now these guys are getting ruled back in. The people ruling back in is the weird part.
Yeah,
You're like, shit, I didn't count for that.
And, like the other day, John Morant was live tweeting on Twitter that like he's waiting for the results he can get back in. Trae Young, I'm like, it was wild.
Good. All right, Awesemo, here we go. It's your old pal Emac coming to you on a Saturday morning. Happy 2022. They decided to find the 2 people that weren't going to party last night to do the morning show. That's me and Gundacker here. Hat tip to Awesemo behind the scenes doing the producing. What's going on, Gun? It's been a while. I feel like it's been a year. And a perfectly organic joke that I just used for the first time today. Excellent. Well done. Well done. Well, hopefully 2022 is better than 2021 and it's better than 2020, but I have a feeling we know how this one's going to play out as well. I mean,
the bar is very low, so hopefully.
Yeah, good times. Hat tip, poor Betty White, just a couple of weeks shy of her 100th birthday. I was thinking of all the different stuff I remembered her from, and that the list is long. She was quite the national treasure, and I don't remember her when she looked young either, which is funny.
I read on a tweet last night. I didn't fact check it, but it says she was alive for every Yankee championship. I was just like, that's an amazing like perspective to absorb.
Not too shabby. Yeah, that is actually really impressive. The one I remember going on a plane ride with my great grandmother. I was probably 4 or 5, so maybe only 4, but I remember the trip, and it was the first time she'd been on a plane. Her primary mode of transportation through most of her life, horse and carriage. It's technology moves, and if you've stuck around for a long time, you get to see a lot of varieties of it. But there we are. Any other fun stuff you want to get out before we get down to business here?
No, it's a nice little moderate size 5 gamer that hopefully we can keep tabs on and don't get too many okie dokes and test outs and test ins.
We shall see. We're going to break this down. As Gundacker mentioned, there's a 5 gamer. There's a 6:30 random game. That's not on any of the main slates. We do have content for that, of course, with projections for the single game contest as well. Free content today is the this week 17 NFL player projections, so you guys can get those for tomorrow. It will be the second largest slate we'll have had in a long time. Next week will be the biggest. There's just the one, they'll flex one of the games to Sunday night football, and everybody plays on Sunday next week. But we've got a pretty healthy slate going on tomorrow. Last regular season Monday night football is this Monday, but then we get the wild card weekend, 6 games this year. I believe it's 3 Saturday, 2 Sunday, and then a Monday game. So it should be a lot of fun. Let's check out some of our other fun stuff here. We are brought to you by Yahoo. You can get 1 free month of Awesemo Platinum just by clicking the link below to redeem. All you got to do is come in on our link, make a actual cash deposit there, and play in 1 paid contest. They're going to give you a site credit match as well, but you want to use your actual currency to get in. That is going to generate an email to Awesemo, which will give us your information. We will then send you a promo code that will get you 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. You'll want to check that out. Promo code is Yahoo 10. They're actually going to give you $25 when you make your first deposit. So check that out. And then they're going to give you another 10 on top of it. They're just giving you the money. And then we also have the $1 million baller that is coming in tomorrow. That is $1 million in the prize pool. Only $800,000 worth of entries. That's because Yahoo's adding $200,000 to the prize pools themselves. You still got to monetize it. You got to cash it. But as soon as that contest locks, you're going to be winning money. We'll see what happens after the rest of the game. But Gundacker, I'm going to hand this over to you. We've got Chicago at Washington. Chicago favored by a bucket, 217.5 over under here. We've got Chicago without Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso. I did not realize that Ersan Ilyasova was with their team, but he is in the COVID protocol. The COVID protocol. It's too early, damn it. Washington's going to be without Spencer Dinwiddie, Montrezl Harrell, Halzino Neto, Aaron Holiday, Davis Bertans, and then Brad Wanamaker. Let's see. Questionable players. This is based upon conditioning. Tony Bradley for Chicago and Simonovic, who I don't think he's anything more than a 10-day contract guy. Speaking of 10-day contracts, Tremont Waters, previously with Toronto, is now with the Washington Wizards because they brought in Brad Wanamaker, who promptly played one game for them and got COVID himself. So we've got some moving parts here, Gundacker. The floor is yours. Hat tip to the Bulls, just turning around their entire franchise's luck this season.
Yeah, and they've been dealing with their shares of vids and outs, so no excuses. No Lonzo, no Caruso still. So Kobe White's still a guy that can get baked in some minutes. A little bit volatile in terms of his ranges of outcomes, but under 5K on DraftKings, you can kind of see get into a little bit of that. I think the price points that stick out to me the most from this game, you mentioned Spencer Dinwiddie out. Bradley Beal is under 9K on FanDuel, and that seems like a problem. He had about a 35% usage rate that last game without Spencer Dinwiddie. He's going to play deep minutes, so 20 to 30 real points is something he's going to have to hang on any game to stay competitive in this split. Kyle Kuzma also was second on the team in usage, just 6,500 on FanDuel. EMAC, I've been seeing a trend the last week. DraftKings has been super, super tight with pricing, and I appreciate it. But FanDuel is slipping on a couple of these guys. And Bradley Beal is Exhibit A, and then Zach LaVine, 8,400 for him. He's another guy that's probably going to start you at 25 real points and go from there. And without the Caruso and the Lonzo Balls, the minutes are his to lose. And we've seen a couple games now of him, DeRozan, and Vucevic all have really, really solid games. I've typically kind of avoided too much overlap between the big three, just selling out for ceiling. But we've actually seen them a little closer to accomplishing it. They did it in 3 games ago against Atlanta. But I still think on FanDuel, all 3 of these guys get in my pool, and I think I have to think about allowing 3 to fall in a lineup. But just because Vucevic has shown a little bit more upside lately and a higher floor, 50 plus fantasy points in 2 of his last 3 games with a shot at 50 in 3 of his last 4. So he's a guy I'm digging quite a bit. I like centers against Washington. They're kind of undersized. And then on the run back, Montrezl Harrell still listed as out. Daniel Gafford and is somebody that I like for a shot at 30 minutes. And he's 5,600 on DraftKings. I'm looking at him to give me a shot at 30 fantasy points or a little bit better. And then off the bench, Davis Bertans is a little bit significant to increase some upside on like Danny Advia, but no warm and fuzzies there. So if I had to pencil down some names, give me LaVine, DeRozan, Vooch, Bradley Beal, Kuzma on the front end, and then supplementary guys if you want to get a little riskier, Kobe White, and then Gafford and to an extent KCP, but I'm not running to it.
All right. Kobe White, just $14 on Yahoo. We like that price point there. That is someone I think you put on your short list. Over there, we also have Daniel Gafford at 18. A little tough to give up your center spots, even though there's only 10 teams in our player pool. Yahoo, we can only play 2 centers. They're a little more strict on their position eligibility, actually the most strict of any of the sites these days because they don't have multi-position eligibility. You get each of the positions, then a guard, then a forward, and the utility, but you can only play 2 centers. And with the way their pricing is, that you can kind of back yourself into a corner if you're not careful. That's what makes it a lot of fun over there. But we got to point out Daniel Gafford with the remember me opportunity here, former Chicago Bull. No Montrezl Harrell. That is going to give solid minutes to Gafford. He has played 32 and 36 minutes in the 2 games without Harrell. That is, they generally split those minutes. Usually whoever has the quote hot hand, or if they need the offense or defense to close, Harrell is the offense, Gafford the defense. They usually end up splitting those 26, 22 with the variable on the in between. But getting Gafford in there is a nice deal. And then Kuzma as well, 23 on Yahoo. That is a nice price point there. Let me see. I wanted to see what Corey Kispert is up to. He's at $10. That's a tough one to go to there. He doesn't always get the minutes that we would like, but without Aaron Holiday, without Halzino Neto, without Spencer Dinwiddie, he could back himself into 30 minutes. You're going to need a little bit of luck, but at the $10 minimum, he's probably he's the break point for me on Yahoo, because not all $10 players are created equal. He's sort of that neutral cutoff point there. Going to our other 7:00 game, we have the San Antonio Spurs taking on Detroit in Detroit. This is a back-to-back for San Antonio, and it is 3-4. However, they got the hockey line changes last night. Only one starter played more than 24 minutes. That was Keldon Johnson. He had 28, so nobody's really going to be tired. Also hard to be looking at any of these guys. We've got DeJounte Murray is still out for San Antonio. On the Detroit side, they are dealing with COVID, so no Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, Killian Hayes, Corey Josephs, Sabian Lee, Josh and Frank Jackson, Lyles. I forget Lyles' first name, Livers, and Magruder, not Magruder. Trey, thank you. I was going with Jordan. I'm doing cross sports at this point.
the Rangers pitchers. That's how short the league is. We got contact pitchers joining the league. Let's go.
Technically, he might be better off. Like, he can't really go that negative.
Oh, it is the Pistons.
Good times. Good times. What do you want to do here? This seemed like a spot where we might get some fantasy goodness, but with Popovich just saying, you get 24 minutes to everybody on his team, nothing really exciting there. What happened to White last night? He was someone that I wasn't watching that game, but I see he did not do very well. Did he end up with foul trouble? Did he get dinged up or something?
He went to the locker room early in the game. He ended up coming back, but and the Grizzlies kind of pulled away with it. So I think he lost some run in the fourth quarter. And then earlier in the game, he lost some run just due to an injury scare. So I would expect a normal game would see him play 30 plus minutes.
Yeah, $28 on Yahoo. So he's someone to circle at that price point in this matchup. Is there anything else? This feels like we're going to have one or two players from this team on almost every lineup that we do, but it's going to be catch as catch can. And, I need a shooting guard. Here comes one. I need a center on this lineup. Here comes one. There's no real driving force for me from either side of this game, aside from Derek White. Maybe Sadiq Bey.
The Pistons are going to give you some uncomfortable clicks just because they have a real concentrated group of guys playing minutes. This is a team that put up 85 real points in their last game, and you needed Ham Diallo and Sadiq Bey. They accounted for 30 plus real points apiece. So if they repeat that, you're going to want to share that. Kudos to DraftKings pricing them up. Sadiq Bey over 8K, Ham Diallo knocking on the door 8K. But if FanDuel, both guys on the south side of 7K, a little over 35 fantasy points, and that dog will hunt. And we've seen 40, 50 plus fantasy point upside. So Ham Diallo, Sadiq Bey are the two guys I would be spending the most time on making a decision on. And then, minutes equal money, maybe a Derek Walton or a Cassius Stanley based on early minute projections fall into a good return on their price point. But this is the downside of COVID NBA right now, is you're playing some names that really don't want to play. But the minutes will sometimes compensate for lack of skill and matchup because the matchup isn't something I love either. And then we've seen Luka Garza generate traction on these slates in terms of ownership. He's been a very, very foul prone individual. A couple of games he's shown some upside. If he stays out of foul trouble, we've seen the ability for him to go 39 minutes. That's what he went against the Knicks, but he didn't do much with it. But at 4,300, you're not asking for a lot in terms of fantasy points. So if he can find a balance between no fouls and 39 minutes, you might have the ultimate value play at the center spot. So I do think the Pistons are worth sweeping through. And while they lack bodies, the Pistons do lead the league in Diallo. So check Diallo on the bench as well.
Did they just pick him up so they could do that? No relation, by the way. No relation.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, on the Spurs side though, Derek White down to 7 or at 7K on DraftKings. If you believe that 30 plus minutes are coming his way, matchup's pretty soft here. 7-point spread on a back-to-back kind of shows the lack of power that the Pistons are bringing, and the Spurs. Derek White's going to lead the team in usage, likely lead the team in most every other category. But Derek White, Keldon Johnson, and Jakob Poeltl are all three guys I can get to on a short list of points per dollar. And Jakob Poeltl, somebody in the right spot, is worth every bit of 7+K. So at 6K, I'll take a shot at 30 to 40 fantasy points. My early projection brought me back 35 FanDuel points. So that's right on the nose of a sweet spot for me.
Absolutely. Now I've got stuck in my head. It's 2022, and here I am. Jiggity check yourself before you wreck yourself. Check Diallo. Oh boy. All right. I need to get a song from maybe perhaps this decade, this millennium. We'll see. I'm dropping a link here in chat. This is a great tweet. This was Gundacker out there on the Twitter street saying, let's get that V8 and Pedialyte. Taking a look at tonight's games. 100 likes or you're fake. That's right. We only have 50 likes here. Come on, let's get that likes up. We've got a nice little shelf life for this show. Hopefully, we've got no dicey news that we're waiting on. Of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so things can change, but this should be a fun one. Coming up after us, we do have the college football live before lock. That one is all the big New Year's Day bowl games are kicking off at noon. So let me just double check and make sure. Yes, indeed, they are on right after us, promptly at 11 o'clock. And at 12, you're going to get the NHL live before lock. At 2, you're going to get the NFL strategy show. At 3, you're going to get the Prize Picks NFL show. That will be back with me, and Eitan will be on that one. And then 5 o'clock, you get the deeper dive. That's going to be Ryan Rinpack. I know its name is Ryan, and I was going to combo there of Rinpack and Ryan, but you get him in there. And then live before lock, you're going to get Greg and Matt Lamarca, and then there will be a special 30-minute extension to that show. So we'll have a lot of fun with all of this going on. And retweet the Gundacker's tweet here. Let's see if we can wake up some of the people that are bleary-eyed, wondering what they're going to do this morning, and they're scrolling through Twitter. They see us and they'll click on that and give it a watch. Okay, next game. Oh, we're at the halfway point. 3 of our 5 games here. We have the Los Angeles Clippers, 11-point underdogs in Brooklyn, 217 over under. Of course, Paul George out for the foreseeable future. Kawhi Leonard doubtful he's going to play this season. Isaiah Hartenstein is out. Boston is out. Zubac is out, and Scrub not playing. Kyrie Irving questionable. He is in the health and safety protocol, but he is going to be out. And then Nick Batum has missed the last 3 games with an ankle issue. No need to rush him back. Otherwise, we have a pretty full house here for Brooklyn. How are we feeling at the top end there by maybe a Mr. James Harden or Kevin Durant? You feeling like feeling a little bold there? You want to pick one or the other?
Yeah, if I had to lean towards one, I think it's going to be James Harden, and this is just because last game against Philly with Kevin Durant back, we still saw James Harden play 40 minutes. So that's a good sign for his fantasy value. Obviously, there's going to be games where Kevin Durant spikes. He played 38 minutes. You can make a case that maybe the Matisse Thybulle was enough to take the top off, but generally both these guys I think are going to project as strong plays, but they are priced appropriately. So like if I had to lean towards one, I think I'm leaning towards Harden a little bit, but Kevin Durant's just fine. Both guys are in a really good spot. It is a double-digit point spread, so there's also that modest range of outcome where they both just put up 50 fantasy points, and it's just position scarcity in terms of which position will value 50 fantasy points more. But if I had to lean one, it's going Harden. But it's a coin flip. The Clippers side though, we got Reggie Jackson back last night, and we did get some information about what that could do to this rotation. The biggest takeaway I think I got last night was that Eric Bledsoe loses a lot of minutes. He got just 16 minutes last night, getting relegated to the bench, while Reggie Jackson played 31. Luke Kennard played 39, and Marcus Morris played 37. We also saw a situation where it felt like Serge Ibaka was destined for deep minutes, 25 to 30 in some spots on the minute projection, and he played just 18, while Amir Coffey benefited in terms of the minute count in life without Zubac and Hartenstein and Nick Batum. So some information to catalog and go forward with. But Marcus Morris Sr. on DraftKings, I think, is just way too cheap in terms of what his usage has been without Paul George and what his minutes and potential upside can be at 5,800. So if you do want to play some Harden, you want to play some Kevin Durant, you want to hope this game stays a little bit close, I think Marcus Morris is going to have a strong game. He's put up 20 plus real points EMAC in 5 straight games with and without Reggie Jackson. So I'm looking at him. And then big price gap between FanDuel and DraftKings for Reggie Jackson, $6K on FanDuel, 81 on DK, $2,100 gaps is happening more often in the last week or two than I've ever seen. So this is a spot where on one side, Reggie Jackson could be a potential core play, and then on the other side, just not in the mix. But on FanDuel, you can give me Reggie and Marcus Morris as a decent starting point. But Marcus Morris on DK looks like a really high owned play for me, just based on potential matchup and the uses that we've seen out of him.
All right. The Ibaka thing, I was so frustrated last night because he only ended up with 18 minutes. That is kind of a trend. He started and only got 18 minutes. You kind of mentioned that, but even with them shorthanded in the prior game, 9 minutes against Boston, 13 against Brooklyn when they lost to Brooklyn. When was that? On the 27th back in Los Angeles, 19 in the one before, 22, 20, 27, 13. I just don't see him getting minutes, which is frustrating because on Yahoo at $10, you get a couple blocks from him, and all of a sudden he's definitely returning value, as the kids like to say. It's an interesting spot, but I don't think we can trust him, which is kind of frustrating here on with just 10 teams in our player pool. He seems, if we could get 24 minutes from him, feels like 24 fantasy points with upside to 30 if he gets a handful of blocks, but that's just, that'd be the most he's played in a month.
Yeah,
it's just horrible.
The pressure's on the DK price, $300 above min. A forward center, you can put him in 4 spots. You don't need much, and per minute, he has been really efficient for fantasy.
I like this. Let's see. Red Planet says EMAC with the awkward laughing. I'll never miss it. It's actual. This is me like all the time. It kind of is what it is. I find things amusing, particularly myself. So there's a lot of chuckling going on throughout the day when I'm involved in anything, which my wife sometimes gets tired of. So, but then if I don't, she's like, what's wrong? You're not laughing. No goofy jokes today.
Yep.
You feeling all right?
Yo, EMAC, I feel like you're my future, man. Like I'm the dad joke. My girl, she hates it, but yeah, you're what I want to be in 20 years.
There we go. All right. So from the Brooklyn side, just running back to there, it seems like everything's going to just be concentrated back at the top. with Harden and Durant, maybe some LaMarcus Aldridge. Patty Mills, depending on where you're playing him, his salary has outkicked his normal production with the absence of Durant there. He was just getting to literally shoot seemingly as much as he wanted until those guys all got back. James Johnson, he's going to be relegated to an afterthought. Bruce Brown, probably the same thing. Someone's going to pop for 6-7x. Good luck guessing which one it's going to be. Even if we're trying to look and say, okay, they're double-digit favorites here, who's going to go out there and mop up duty? We don't know. We just don't know. And there's too many people that have conditioning issues, so I don't think those minutes are going to go to any one person in particular. There's no reason to, and their coach is smart enough to keep them out of that mess. Anything else from this one? I was hoping we'd find a little more. We only got 2 more games to find our must plays.
Yeah, I would say watch the Nets lineup. Steve Nash actually started both Claxton and LaMarcus Aldridge in that last game. I do wonder if that was in response to matching a Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid lineup, and maybe you don't have to do that with a Marcus Morris and Ibaka lineup, and maybe they're just trying to explore different potential lineups. But yeah, just kind of keep an eye on that because it does spin the wheel, make a deal in those supplementary forwards like Johnson, Bembry, Bruce Brown, guys like that. And it was a unique lineup that I didn't expect, and it did get Claxton to 30-plus minutes in the starting lineup, and he's under 5K on DraftKings.
That's a good call out there. He kind of seems to be the one guy that's moved ahead of the distinctly ahead of the Millsaps, the James Johnsons, etc. there. So perhaps that is someone we can go to. You know what everybody should go to? They should go to the Awesemo promotions page, but I'm going to read it for you here. So we want to bring in the new year. We've got not 1, but 2 incredible Awesemo offers here. For only $20, you can get access to all the Awesemo content, tools, and data for 22 days. So that's not even $1 a day. All you got to use is promo code 2022. That is the key thing. And this deal's not going to last long. It expires on the 7th. You can get 1 full year of Awesemo Platinum for 20% off using the promo code HAPPY22. That's HAPPY22, the number 22. Get it? 2022. So the reason I point that out is this offer for the year-long discount, that comes but once a year. Now is the time. And for those of you that had signed up with the deal last year, you're going to want to jump back in again. But that is the best offer that we're going to have all year. Definitely want to take advantage of that. So again, you want to, you're on a discount, no problem. Jump on in. We're going to give you 22 days for $20 using the promo code 2022. Or if you want to be with us for the next year, and you should, use that promo code HAPPY22 to get 20% off the 1 year package. All righty. I think we found our game with some fantasy goodness here. Well, one fantasy goodness. Denver, Nikola Jokic, the reigning MVP. You know what he said? I'm going to do this myself, guys. I can't get the assists anymore, but now I'm going to get 20 rebounds a game just to make my fantasy supporters happy. He's been putting up some just eye-popping numbers here. Of course, Denver is obviously without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr., but Bones Highland is out. Jeff Green is out. Najee is out. Houston's going to be without DJ Augustine and Garrison Matthews. Şengün is doubtful. They played last night. I don't think we'll see Şengün. Austin Rivers and Aaron Gordon, questionable. They've been dinged up. But Nikola Jokic here, man. What can you say anything bad about him? Because you would say, the assists are down, but the rebounds are up, my friend. The rebounds are up.
Yeah, I mean, you're sharing the court with Austin Rivers and guys like that. The assists are probably naturally going to go down. This is just an incredible player against an incredible matchup. Jokic probably should be the highest owned stud on the slate. If you can go up there and get him, DraftKings does make it a little tougher. And, he's the guy that's going to put pressure on the Serge Ibaka decision-making process. But man, oh man, can he legitimately drop 70, 80 fantasy points and nobody, bat an eye. That's almost the expectation here. My soft projection easily shot back 20 plus fantasy points on both sites, almost 70 on FanDuel. So yeah, he's right there in the mix. And this is a very short-handed Denver team. It wasn't just a couple days ago they had to postpone a game just to go sign some kids from the parking lot. So love me some Jokic. And then on FanDuel, the price points are still cheap enough. Matchup considered for Will Barton to give you a shot at 30 plus fantasy points. And then we mentioned Monte Morris is down. So Campazzo and or an Austin Rivers could have an argument to maybe get you there from a value standpoint. The Rockets are a very, very favorable spot for every position. So no one's off limits for me on the Nuggets. And then also not inconspicuous by his absence, Jeff Green does represent a decent chunk of minutes in per game, 29, 20, 25, his last couple games. So that's another batch of minutes that they're going to have to fill in. So if Aaron Gordon can play, maybe it benefits him. If he can't play, you might see some looks at maybe a JaMychal Green type, and he's 3,200 on DraftKings and 42 on FanDuel. So Nuggets, as short as they are, should be a team that soaks up a lot of concentrated ownership on this slate. But I think it's for good reason. The matchup is pretty prime.
Yeah, and then so this, I didn't mention, this is a back-to-back here for Houston, and then they play again on Monday. Last night they didn't really go overboard with the minutes. Wood had 31, Kevin Porter Jr. had 31. The rest of the starters were below that. Off the bench, they had Tate played 25, Monty Brooks played 22, and then Christopher played 25. So the issue, the reason I'm bringing this up is they have most of their people back after having had COVID go through their team. The hard part is because of the back-to-back, who's in what stages of conditioning, many hands make light work. It's going to be a little tricky if, they're Houston in a point where they're not particularly worried about winning games. Denver is definitely going to be trying here because they need to bank some easy wins here to at some point give Jokic a little time, a little break, if possible, or maybe not have to run him into the ground. But it's hard to see a definitive Houston Rocket option tonight, because even if you say, oh, well, Christian Wood is good, they're not running him into massive minutes at all this season. And he's been, they've been taking it relatively easy on him. Just looking in December, he only averaged 30 minutes per game. Let's see, Friday played 34, Tuesday was 33, Monday was 26, 31, 28, 29, 30, 25. They're just not playing him a ton of minutes. Hard to really trust him there. He looks good on a fantasy point per minute, but if he's kind of capping out there at 30, 32, it makes it incredibly difficult to trust. Anything else from this one here?
Maybe watch Jayshawn Tate. Yesterday, Nwaba still started for the Rockets, so Tate, maybe his minutes, staggering with the bench, a little bit more lucrative, and he did close that game over Nwaba and potentially picked up a spare minute or two with Şengün going down. So if you're looking for a way to maybe get sneaky, put him in your back pocket, and he might be able to pop, because the shots were there for him yesterday, and he has picked up 18 or more real points in his last two games, although a little over a week apart.
We're actually moving along nicely with this show. This has been rather quick. We don't often run into this, Gundacker. We're at just over the halfway mark here. We're getting out in.
I run into it a lot.
We are there we go. We are having some fun here. We've got the college football DFS Live Before Lock show on after us. We'll be giving them plenty of time. A lot of opportunities out there to have some fun on the sports wagering sites. That is also going to be a good time today. You can check that out. You can go over to Odds Shopper. That is the Awesemo.com sister site. That is Odds Shopper, ODDS Shopper, 2 S's in there. Check that out. It's a lot of fun. You can have fun with fantasy sports as well, because you can use player prop information, you can go up to the shop NBA column, click on player props, and then from there you can see what you would like to go up or down based on various odds, or pardon me, various books lines. And the best part, that's all the answers are fed to you from the Awesemo projections, and we also put out the expected win percentage as well as the calculated ROI, return on investment, doing all the heavy lifting here for you. And if you want to have some fun, like real fun, in the upper left, you can click on the props or the parlay button where we put together parlays for you automatically. That I've been having some fun with. We just are about a year into legalized sports wagering here in Virginia. I'm still learning my way around these things, Gun, but I've been dabbling with some of the parlays. I'm learning about arbitrage betting. We have our YouTube channel, the Awesemo Odds channel, some great content out there from Ben Raza and Dave Lochran explaining some of the different ways you can utilize these tools here, as well as the different sports wagering concepts. There's a whole new world out there. So if you're, getting a little bored with DFS, this will reinvigorate you. I will tell you, there is nothing quite like live betting NBA. It is a lot of fun. I don't go to, I'll end up playing, putting $1 here, $1 there, and I look up and I've got $30 on the game already. So it's a lot of fun. You can try to middle stuff. NBA is a game of runs. So you're constantly looking for hey, this team's plus 400. They're only down by 7. They could really come back and get this. It's a lot of fun doing that. And then most of the sites have the cash out option as well. So that has been something I did not anticipate being as fun as it has been, Gundacker.
Yeah, sports betting is fun.
The live betting portion, I was never really a fan of sports. I like the DFS, I like the puzzle, I like putting it all together. I tell you what, this live betting is pretty cool. So, especially Monday Night Football is also fun for that one. So a lot of little strategies there, but you can check that out. Okay, well, let's hit our final game of the night, unless you had anything else there for Denver and Houston.
No, just we're keeping an eye on who's actually going to be in for Denver. I do think, it's a team that has to sign some 10-day bodies, but for the most part, you probably expect the majority of the minutes to go for their trusted starters. And like I said, Austin Rivers may not be a fun click, but he is bare bones min price on DK. And sometimes minutes equal money when you put him in a good matchup like Houston. If you're into revenge, go for it. So if you got him, if an Austin Rivers bare skin of his teeth, 20 fantasy points, ease the path to like a Jokic in your lineup, I would just grit my teeth and bear it.
All right. Golden State, 4.5 point underdogs in Utah. This is our nightcap. Utah played last night. They were without Joe Ingles, who had a back injury. And then Hassan Whiteside, I believe, hit his head. So I'm not sure if he's in the concussion protocol, but I would not be surprised if he's not playing tonight. On the Golden State side, no Damian Lee and no Draymond Green. We are getting closer to a Klay Thompson return. I would suspect in the next couple of weeks he will be coming back. That is going to make Golden State quite a formidable team. How do you feel about Curry in this one? It's so hard to trust him among the top end players because he does not have that baseline of assists and rebounds that provide that safe floor, and you need him to be draining the threes, which he's of course the best ever at, but that does not always make for anything more than low 50s in the fantasy points here. Talk to me about Curry.
Yeah, Steph is definitely out of all the studs that are 11, 12K, he has the lowest floor of them all. And he hasn't really tapped into that ceiling as much as you might expect for Steph Curry to do. They did get Jordan Poole back and Andrew Wiggins back. There was a couple of games without him, but they're still without Draymond Green. So there's still a lot of facilitating going Curry's way. In most games where they stay competitive, you expect a strong outing from Steph Curry. I like his FanDuel price a lot more than the DraftKings price. So I'll be looking to kind of get ownership on him on FanDuel when I want it. On DK, I think he's expendable, and I'd probably rather get to obviously I'd rather get to Jokic, but I'd probably still prioritize Harden and KD at that price range. So that 11.8K, like I always say, is a down payment on a brand new Nikola Jokic. I'll take Jokic there. As far as the rest of the Warriors go, Poole and Wiggins, spin the wheel, make a deal. I think their FanDuel price points collectively are obtainable, 30 plus fantasy points. I think at that price range on FanDuel, might be a little bit more intrigued by Will Barton. And then without Draymond Green, Juan Toscano Anderson, Otto Porter, Jonathan Kuminga, Andre Iguodala, all have kind of ate into each other's potential upside in minutes. So I don't have a strong lean there. You mentioned Hassan Whiteside got knocked loopy last night. He got ruled out with a concussion. If he can't play tonight, there was a small stretch in the third quarter where Rudy Gay was playing center, and it wasn't for long, but the Warriors do have a knack for pushing teams to a small ball lineup. So you might see Rudy Gay play a little bit more minutes just irregardless, and you might see him get some center minutes in small ball versus small ball. And he's only $10 on Yahoo. That's bare bones min. $100 or 3,600 on DraftKings, 4K on FanDuel. I think I will be kind of leaning on him with a hunch, and that hunch would only get a little bit stronger if Joe Ingles sat out again. He was out with a back issue yesterday, but they were also without Conley last night, so he'll represent some minutes. But I think a lot of those minutes, they started the kid, was it Trent Forrest that drew the start yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, yep. They threw him out there for 20 minutes. So I think Rudy Gay is somebody that's kind of reaching out to me to potentially benefit here. So keep an eye on the Whiteside news, because we might see a lot of small ball opportunity for Rudy Gay to play the 5.
That's a really good call out. I'm just looking here to see how, because Rudy Gay missed the first month or so of the season here. They worked him back in slowly. He generally plays like metronome, like 18 to 21 minutes. Last night he did get 26, game before that 24. He has played in every back-to-back. I think they're just eyeballing, it looks like there's been 3 since his return. So I would expect him to be in the mix for 20, 22 points, but 4 or 20, 22 minutes. Easy 4 upside there, attainable to get him to 26 again with what Gundacker pointed out. That's an excellent call out there. It's like you've done this before. You've watched these games.
So ironically, I played the late slate on Yahoo last night, thinking Rudy Gay could be a strong play without Joe Ingles, but I also had Hassan Whiteside. So it's just like 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, and yikes.
Yeah. So yes, good times there. Good times. The one thing I do want to point out about our sponsor Yahoo, and then we're going to do a little Awesemo Hall of Fame here, but Yahoo does, when they basically run new contests with every slate, but it's through the start time of whatever game it is through all the rest of the night. So when they're running their 8 o'clock games, it's through the rest of the night. So a lot of the slates, you only get 2 or 3 game slates there. They keep running it all the way through. It creates an entirely new player pool, and it's a different way of looking at things. It is a lot of fun to do that over there. Granted, the contests are not gigantic, but hey, you don't get the mass multi-entry people in there as well. And even if you're jumping in there for the $10 or $20 entry fees, you're playing 50 or 100 mans. They're winnable. That's the key thing. They're actually winnable, and more often than not, they don't fill. So you're basically playing rake free on a site that already only has 10 to 12% management fees, when everybody else is bumping up against 16%. Those are the little margins, the little things that as a nit you can help sustain your bankroll and not have to redeposit. Checking out our Awesemo Hall of Fame here. I want to remind everybody you can go to awesemo.com/avatar, download that Awesemo profile pic, and then upload that on the various DFS sites. Tweet your wins to Awesemo HOF. That's Awesemo Hall of Fame here. If you finish top 3 in any contest with at least 5,000 entries, can't be ties, but top 3, first, second, or third, not first, second, and tied with 800 of your friends for a third, but at top 3 finish there, we'll get you 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. It's a great way to get in there behind the paywall for free. Of course, you can get 22 days of Awesemo all access premium content by using the promo code 2022 for just $20 to get 22 days. Renpack, you guys are going to get to see him tonight on the NBA Deeper Dive, dropping a cool $67,000 victory here. He's pretty good at this stuff. He's pretty good. Put up 400 points the other night there on DraftKings. That was on the strength of Ricky Rubio. That guy just can't buy a break, can he, Gun? He just can't buy a break. Not Rinpack, Ricky Rubio.
Oh, yeah, Rinpack can afford a break or two, but not so much Ricky Rubio.
Not so much. Not so much. We've got DFIC over here, says, thanks to Matt Gajeski and Awesemo.com for helping me start 2022 off right. He had a nice showing last, I think that must have been last night there in the college football streets. We, of course, have a big college football day ahead of us today. We've got DFS college football DFS live before lock coming up here in 10 minutes, but that's a nice little ROI there for him. We've got Barry Watts says, Merry Christmas. He dropped a $6,400 victory there, got second place in the NBA $4.20 max. That is an outstanding showing. And then wrapping it up here, you got Matt Etheridge coming in, says, I've been playing 2 weeks. Add me to the Hall of Fame. Thanks for all that you guys do. He dropped $3,700 into his account, doing a little bit of looks like NBA there. So a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing you on here, Gundacker. I know you're shy about these. You don't like to talk about all that money, all the Brinks trucks backing up into your driveway there. But we'll see you up here at some point.
Close. On Christmas, I was 5 points behind the 100K for a strong point, and then I was sweating Bojan Bogdanovic, and they kept blowing whistles and fouls, and I ended up finishing like 11 points behind. But to this day, to my dying day, I will say Robert Williams got screwed out of 2 blocks in the first quarter against Giannis. So I maybe should have won 100K on Christmas.
Yes. To that, I say too soon. Too soon. That was, man, those were, I don't know what happened there. That
it's going to be in my headstone when I die, Robert Williams said. And then he had a triple-double yesterday. I love playing Robert Williams, but he wasn't on the main slate. So he had a triple-double yesterday. Go figure.
I don't know how they do that to us. But definitely have some fun there with the Awesemo Hall of Fame. So that wraps us up there with our 5 games. Again, we've got a ton of content coming after us here. As I've mentioned, college football live before lock coming up right next. They're going to be talking DFS. They're going to be talking some sports wagering, etc. After that, we've got the get out back over here. NHL live before lock is at noon. At 2:00, you get an NFL strategy show. At 3:30, you're going to get the Prize Picks NFL show. At 5:00, the NBA deeper dive again with Rinpack. And then 6 to 7:30, extra bonus half hour there. You're going to get Greg and Matt LaMarca with the NBA live before lock and post lock show, talking some wagering, getting into any of the additional news as it breaks. It's going to be a lot of fun here. You guys can follow Gundacker on Twitter over at Gundacker. You can find me at EMAC-DFS. And of course, it is Awesemo_COM. With that, gamers, good luck.